The Steam Summer Sale is upon us, and savings are washing over us like tides on the beach. Hello everybody, I am Jmulls of Jmulls Gaming, and welcome to the 2024 Steam Summer Sale Roundup. Let's get right on into this. Baldur's Gate 3 took 2023 over by storm. It accumulated awards and Game of the Year awards specifically, as if it was just a regular thing to do. And in my opinion, it not only lives up to the hype, it exceeds it. An isometric Dungeons & Dragons turn-based adventure, you party alongside a cast of colorful characters through brilliantly voiced and written dialogue, branching moments and scenarios that are shaped by your choice as you undertake an amazing adventure. It is 20% off for $47.99. If you have not yet delved into this game, I highly recommend it. Also, the soundtrack is amazing and isn't talked about enough. Now, this was on sale not too long ago, but I'm going to include it here anyways. Kingdom Hearts found its way to Steam, with the Integra Masterpiece being the entire thing, being 31% off for $68.99, or each of the individual entries here, 1.5 and 2.5, Remix, whatever the naming convention is for Kingdom Hearts. Let's be fair here, they kind of take the letters you have at the end of a Scrabble game and just make that the game title. Point is, each of these components is 31% off by itself, but if you buy the entire thing, you get a pretty good discount. If you've wanted to delve into Kingdom Hearts, or you just want to be able to play it on Steam, and also the Steam Deck, now is as good a time as any. I played Kingdom Hearts 1 personally not too long ago, and I can attest how good that game was. Remember when we had good Batman games? I remember. And the entire Arkham collection is on sale right now for 85% off for $8.99. That includes Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight, and the Arkham Knight Season Pass. Oh, and it's the Game of the Year editions for both Asylum and City. I played City back in the day. It was a ton of fun. The combat won't be for everybody because it's kind of that old combat system where it's like press Y to count and you just kind of spam that. It won't be for everybody. At least City was for me, and from what I've seen of Asylum and Knight, they follow suit. Amazing Batman adventures with really compelling stories, and they're kind of the ultimate Batman simulator. So either if you want a dose of nostalgia of the old days, or you want to dive into these games for the first time, but $9 for 3 games, good deal. Sony may be refusing to give us Bloodborne on PC, but Lies of P is a great take on that Bloodborne formula. It's Pinocchio, but a really dark iteration of it. And while I haven't beaten the whole thing myself, the combat loop feels extremely visceral and satisfying to pull off, and is extremely reminiscent of Bloodborne, but Lies of P goes in its own direction with the gameplay. If you are a big fan of these Souls-like games, and you want something that will give you some version of what you got out of Bloodborne, Lies of P may be your best bet at that. And I also think the game is able to stand on its own 2 feet. I was pleasantly surprised by Lies of P, and perhaps you will as well. It is 40% off for $35.99. Let's have a little JRPG mini-arc in this video, shall we? Now, while we are still waiting for Rebirth to make its way to PC, Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate is already on Steam and is 50% off for $34.99. I adore the Final Fantasy VII Remake games. They add so much heart and depth to all these scenes and the characters on the whole, while also telling its own story. I think these are some of the most impressive entries in the Final Fantasy franchise, and that's saying something. I love Remake to death, and the added Yuffie story that comes bundled into Integrate is awesome by itself as well. If you want to get ready for Rebirth, I wholeheartedly recommend Remake Integrate. Oh my god, he's yapping about Dragon Quest XI yet again, and I will continue to do so. This game is amazing. Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. They need to sort the naming convention out. However, I am a firm advocate that this is one of the best JRPGs and games of the last 5 years overall. This game is amazing. It's fun, lighthearted, and emotional, with an amazing cast of characters, one of the best turn-based combat loops I've ever seen. Have I mentioned how good the cast of characters are? And a great story that just unravels and unravels. It's great! And there's even a mode where you can play this game entirely like an old-school JRPG that's top-down and pixelated. There's just so many good ideas in Dragon Quest XI. If you haven't played it, I wholeheartedly recommend it. It's 40% off, $23.99. Tales of Arise was the first game I ever streamed on this channel. I didn't get too far into it, and I never beat it, and I know that doesn't sound as if this would lead to a glowing recommendation, but this is one of the games I really need to get back to. It's beautiful, was a ton of fun from what I played, and had a story that was really interesting, and I wanted to learn more about it. It was just really cool, and that's like the best thing I can describe it with. I really liked the main characters and thought they interacted with one another in interesting ways. Just the ideas in this game are really cool, and I remember really enjoying the combat loop. If you really like JRPGs but you don't feel like turn-based right now, maybe give Tales of Arise a shot. And there's quite a few bundles here. The game itself is 50% off for $19.99, or you can get the edition with the DLC Beyond the Dawn for 34% off for $39.59, or you can get the Tales of Arise and Scarlet Nexus bundle that has Tales of Arise and Scarlet Nexus Go figure for 73% off for $26.62, or you can go for the Bandai Namco RPG Essential Collection bundle, which is Tales of Arise, Scarlet Nexus, and Code Vein for 78% off for $34.71. I hear good things about Scarlet Nexus and Code Vein. Code Vein, to the best of my knowledge, I haven't played it or touched it, same with Scarlet Nexus. To my knowledge, they're kind of like Souls-like experiences, but not quite. But if any of those games have ever made you raise an eye to them, at least in passing, maybe now's as good a time as any to dive into them. Need anything else be said about Elden Ring? It's 30% off for $41.99. In my opinion, it is one of the best open-world RPGs ever created. With a whole host of different builds and playstyles available within, you can really make the game as hard or as easy as you kind of want it to be. Within reason, of course. Filled to the brim with iconic boss fight encounters, it has one of the best progression systems I've ever seen from a game. And if a boss is obliterating you with a particular move, or you just really like how they look, or they have a really cool weapon, chances are you can then get that and then use it to lay waste to the rest of the game. It's so clean, it's fun, rewarding, and it can be challenging if you want it to be. Or you can full cheese it with bleed builds and summons and whatnot. It's a game, have fun with it. I always recommend The Witcher, and I will always continue to recommend The Witcher. These are also some of the best RPGs ever made, full stop. I think Witcher 1 has not aged the best. I couldn't get into that one myself. However, The Witcher 2 and The Witcher 3, good God, I couldn't stop recommending these two games. Mature fantasy epics, following one of my favorite protagonists of any game ever with Geralt the Witcher, the White Wolf, the Butcher of Blaviken. Your choices matter in these games. They can affect various quest lines and how they end, and how they progress. The Witcher 2 is like a scaled-down version of The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 being way more open world and open-ended. If you want a more bite-sized experience, I would recommend starting with Witcher 2. You can go with either of these, but they are both amazing. The entire trilogy is available for 89% off for $7.62, or you can get The Witcher 1 or 2 individually for 85% off, but The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is 90% off for $3.99. For games you can easily sink tens, if not hundreds of hours, like in The Witcher 3, you get plenty of bang for your buck here. Doom is everything I wish modern FPS games were. Fun, bombastic, rule of cool, and just fun. Need I say anything else about Doom and Doom Eternal? They're great. Amazing level design, amazing weapon sandboxes, actually compelling narratives as well. That one surprised me. Some of the best soundtracks you will find in the medium, paired alongside some of the best gunplay you will find in the medium. Rip and tear until it is done. These games are gory, bombastic, and just amazing fun. Doom 2016 is available for 80% off for $3.99. Doom Eternal is available for 75% off for $9.99. The hype Fallout has gotten in recent years, well, not even years, like within the last few months because of the TV show, is commendable. It's a storied franchise, and while Fallout 5 may be way out on the horizon, if you want to get another dose of Fallout, Fallout 4, 60% off for $7.99, Fallout New Vegas, 50% off, $4.99. Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition, 67% off, $6.59. Fallout 76, 75% off, $9.99. Need I say more? It's Fallout. Post-apocalyptic RPGs where, again, your choices matter. These games are largely what put Bethesda on the map to begin with. Middle-earth, the Shadow Bundle contains Middle-earth, Shadow of War, the Expansion Pass, Shadow of Mordor, and the Game of the Year Edition upgrade for Shadow of Mordor. I played Shadow of War, at least a lot of it, way back in the day, and it's a ton of fun. Similar to the Arkham games in terms of the combat, it's also really different, and the Nemesis system is one of the most brilliant game mechanics I've ever seen. Essentially, there's named orcs around the map, you can fight them, and if they happen to beat you, those orcs will gain notoriety within their faction. They may even rank up and get promotions, and the next time you find them, they may be way more powerful than before. It's a great system that kind of gives you your own individualized little narrative with each of these orcs. You can get the entire Shadow Bundle for 90% off for $6.99, or Shadow of War by itself for 95% off for $2.49. If you love Lord of the Rings and you want a really good Lord of the Rings RPG, it's hard to pass these up. I don't know too much about Celeste. I know it's a platformer, it can be really hard, but a lot of people absolutely adore this game, so I just wanted to give it a quick shout out here. It's 90% off for $1.99. If you haven't had the chance to pick it up, now's as good a time as any. Disco Elysium is another example of a game that's not necessarily for me, but it's very well renowned, and from what I know about it, it's a detective game, where the story can branch off into many branching paths depending upon your choices, and just how you interact with the game. It's not so much combat heavy, it's really dialogue intensive, but to my knowledge, the real fun and enjoyability from this game comes from engaging with the dialogue with all these characters. So if that sounds appealing to you, then it's 90% off for $3.99. I may not be anticipating Dragon Age the Veil God, but Dragon Age Origins? Now this game is my jam. I love it to death. You get a wealth of different starting experiences that shape your own playthrough and make your character feel really personalized and customized to the journey you want it to be. The combat system is also really fun. I don't even normally play mage characters, but back when Dragon Age Origins came out, I played a mage. And the spell effects are amazing. And mage gets their own starting experience. It's great. Reading some recent reviews on Steam, beware here. Apparently there's a crashing issue, so bear that in mind. However, it's 90% off for $2.99. Cyberpunk 2077 is one of the greatest comeback stories in the history of gaming. We always knew CD Projekt Red could put out an amazing game, and while they absolutely fumbled when Cyberpunk 2077 first came out, over the course of the next few years, they set out to fix all of the issues the game had, and essentially gave the game a giant facelift, all culminating with 2.0 and the expansion pass, Phantom Liberty. Expansion Pack. It's a great RPG set in Night City, which is just an amazing location. Looks absolutely gorgeous, by the way. And the game rewards different playstyles and different ways to approach each of these missions. It's fast-paced, it can be gory, it's great, it's visceral. If you haven't delved into Night City yet, good a time as any. It's 50% off for $29.99, or you can get the Ultimate Edition, which contains Phantom Liberty, for 43% off for $51.04. Weird number, but there you go. I don't care how many times I recommend Titanfall 2, I'm going to keep doing it, dang it. Titanfall 2 is one of the best FPS single-player campaigns we have gotten in the last 10 years, and it's a crying shame that EA has done nothing with this franchise since. I do not count Apex. Titanfall 2 was just simply fun. A brilliant dichotomy between the pilot gameplay, which was super fast and had an emphasis on parkour, and the actual Titan gameplay that had various builds, was slower and more methodical because you're in a giant robot, but going between the two felt so good, and the gunplay was satisfying, visceral, and rewarding. Pair that with amazing level design and a really competent story. Titanfall 2 Ultimate Edition, 80% off, $5.99. I live for the day we eventually get Titanfall 3. If you have never played Bioshock before and you cared all about FPS games, do yourself a favor and try out Bioshock. Whether that is Bioshock Remastered, Bioshock Infinite, it doesn't matter, just play some Bioshock. I love these games, and I have so many fond memories of playing Bioshock Infinite back in the days of the 360. And the bit I have played of Bioshock 1, I understand why there's so much love and passion for this franchise. It's a brilliant FPS game, where at least in Bioshock 1, you really do feel starved for bullets sometimes, so you have to get creative to solve these issues that are put in front of you and find your way against these mobs. But you pair the interesting combat and exploration and level design and story alongside the magic system. It's not called a magic system in these games, but it kind of is. Where you get various magical power-ups for your left hand that are really cool and fun. Whether you're shooting bolts of lightning or setting enemies on fire or even setting swarms of bees, it's cool. There's a reason people love these games so much and why these games have some of the most memorable and iconic locations in all of gaming. Do yourself a favor, go dream of the sea and dream of the sky. Bioshock Remastered is 75% off for $4.99. But Bioshock the Collection, which has Bioshock Remastered, Bioshock 2 Remastered, Bioshock 2 Minerva's Den Remastered, Bioshock Infinite Season Pass, and Bioshock Infinite Columbia's Finest, 80% off for $11.99. L.A. Noire is a masterpiece, and I wish Rockstar would remember this game exists. Imagine a Rockstar game set in like the 1940s, and it's a noir detective thriller. It's so good! It's so freaking good! It's $5.99 for 70 It's 70% off for $5.99. Do yourself a favor, go play L.A. Noire. The Halo games are normally on discount when it comes to these Steam sales, but I want to put a spotlight on Halo Wars Definitive Edition. See, Halo Wars is a spin-off Halo series that's an RTS. And while I think RTS on console is like trying to hump a cheese grater, Halo Wars overall really works. And this one's on Steam. It's not going to be the best RTS game out there, but it's a good RTS of Halo. That's a match made in heaven, and it is a genuinely fun time. 75% off for $4.99. You know what time it is? It's time for the lightning round. We're gonna go quick. I'm gonna give my recommendations, ones I haven't already mentioned, by the way. So let's get into this. Stardew Valley is that cozy comfort farming simulator, for like lack of a better word. 40% off, $8.99. The Hunter Called the Wild. If you need a really competent hunting game, it's 85% off for $2.99. Hades is 60% off, $9.99. One of the biggest roguelike games out there right now. Monster Hunter World is 67% off for $9.89, and you can dump thousands of hours into this game. It's all about fighting monsters to take their parts to make better equipment to fight even tougher monsters. If that sounds appealing, it's because it is. Subnautica is an underwater alien survival simulator, 67% off, $9.89. Halo the Master Chief Collection, get some Halo in ya, 75% off, $9.99. Borderlands 3, 85% off, $8.99. And I know Borderlands 2 is also on sale for a deep discount. These are the titular looter shooters. City Skyline, great city building simulator from what I've seen, 70% off, $8.99. Mass Effect Legendary Edition is like a remastered version of Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, 90% off for $5.99. Yeah, and there you go, Borderlands 2, 85% off for $3. Vampire Survivors is kind of like the auto shooter, where you're just going around getting power-ups to fight hilarious numbers of enemies on your screen, 25% off for $3.74. Left 4 Dead 2 was 90% off for less than $1. It's 99 cents. If you got some buddies, you can convince them to get this game. It's a great co-op game. All about fighting zombies and living to fight another day and completing these missions. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is a Star Wars version of a Souls-like, and it's really fun. And one of the better things to come out of Star Wars in recent years. I know that's not a high bar, but for this one, it's a compliment, trust me. 90% off for $3.99. Control Ultimate Edition is 75% off for $9.99. It's a mind-melty third-person action shooter that has some really interesting Force-like powers. Go give it a look. Undertale is 75% off at $2.49. Do I need to say anything about Undertale at this point? One of the biggest indie games ever. Grand Theft Auto 4, the Complete Edition. A lot of people love Grand Theft Auto 4, especially for its story. And just overall, it's GTA. It's 70% off for $5.99. XCOM 2 is at a massive discount of 95% off for $2.99. It's a strategy turn-based game where each move matters, there's permadeath, where it's all about humans fighting some aliens. You also have No Kuni Wrath of the White Witch Remastered. This game is really charming, and while I haven't played it myself, from what I've seen, imagine a Ghibli, like a Studio Ghibli Pokemon game. It's 85% off for $7.49. Recent reviews are mixed, not sure what's going on with that, so do your due diligence, but hey, I've heard nothing but good things about No Kuni. And that's gonna do it for this Steam Summer Sale Roundup. Bear in mind, this goes all the way to July 11th. So, thank you all for tuning in. Leave a comment down below with what games you are going to pick up or you have an interest in. Love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and hear what you picked up. Thank you all for tuning in. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. It'd really help the channel out and help support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody, until we meet again!